Hello, and thanks for watching. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 8 habits that I've noticed in myself that have kept me poor. I'm also going to share my strategies for releasing the habits that keep me poor and replacing them with habits that will bring me wealth. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. On this channel, I talk about living frugally, getting out of debt, financial independence, and maybe even retiring early, and bringing your spending into alignment with what you truly desire, and also ways to make more money. I come from an under-earning background, so a lot of the work that I'm doing is to adjust my own mindset and welcome more abundance and wealth into my life. I am an expert in nothing except my own experience, and my goal on this channel is to share with you what I'm learning so that we can all learn together. In this video, I'm going to talk about habits that have kept me poor. These are things that I've noticed myself doing almost kind of automatically, and while the behavior might be automatic, retraining that behavior and replacing it with something positive that I want to develop automatically in its place has taken a little bit of work. Now, there's also kind of an ongoing maintenance aspect to this as well. When I isolate those habits that have kept me poor, replacing them with habits that I know will make me wealthy takes a little bit of work because, as I mentioned in the beginning, I come from a background of under-earning. I feel like I've never really earned up to my potential because I've never really focused on it. But by isolating the habits that have kept me poor and replacing them with habits that I know will make me wealthy, I'm hoping to change my financial destiny. So the first habit that I know has kept me poor is not being honest about my habits, just being completely oblivious to my own behavior, or even worse, flat out lying to myself about what I'm really doing. For example, telling myself that I can afford that ridiculous luxury item when I know I can't afford that ridiculous luxury item. That's an example of lying to myself. Now, I'm not saying that you can't splurge every now and then, but this whole journey begins with honesty, and you gotta be honest with where you are if you're ever going to get to somewhere better. The second thing that has kept me poor is lack of intention or targets. Maybe I am honest with myself about where I am, but I really don't feel any desire or need or ability to change that. Not having a plan or not feeling like I can execute a plan has definitely kept me poor. How I've replaced this habit that has kept me poor with a habit that I know will bring me wealth is by setting little teeny tiny micro goals and really building up that muscle of goal setting and giving myself targets that I am very certain that I will be able to hit. So rather than wanting to save a whole bunch or saving nothing, I save just like a little tiny bit, and eventually that muscle of goal setting gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and the progress and momentum just builds on itself. So I set tiny goals, micro goals. Yeah. So habit number 3 that I know has kept me poor is staying on the consumer treadmill. Now, this is a big one. So some people call it spending money you don't have, to buy things you don't need, to impress people you don't like. That never really resonated with me because I don't really care what people think of me. However, I know that at times I have gotten into this vicious cycle, buying things I don't need because I think they'll make me happy, but they almost never do. I call this staying on the consumer cycle, the consumer treadmill, and I just want to get off of it. Now, the thing is, this will kind of like sneak up on you because I love a good browse session. I love looking around. I like looking around at things. Some people might call that shopping. And it's real easy for me to get sucked into this trap of needing that next new thing. But I know that the best way to combat this is to just push pause and take myself outside for a walk. And I mean that like literally and figuratively. Sometimes literally it's like get outside and go for a walk. But it's also getting out of this cycle of buying things because I think that they will bring me happiness. And this recurs. Some people call it like keeping up with the Joneses, and that lifestyle, staying in a lifestyle habit, that's a consumer treadmill. That never brings true happiness. So to sum it up, get off the consumer treadmill and be very intentional about where you're walking and why. Habit number 4 that kept me poor was having disorganized finances. Now, I am someone who loves organization by nature, But I'm also someone that can kind of lose the discipline to do that over time. So for me, it's not so much only just being organized, but keeping up that organization and having the focus and the strategy to remain organized as time goes on. So what I noticed would happen in my financial life is that I would be really disciplined and dedicated with knowing where my money went for like maybe a couple days, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month and a half, but then I would start to fall off. Things wouldn't go according to plan. I'd face some unexpected, but in reality, very expected hiccups in my budgeting. And as a result, I wouldn't keep track of my finances. So something I've done that has really helped me over the past 5 years is develop a very simple spreadsheet system to keep track of my finances. Now, 5 years ago, I was the kind of person that would hear the word spreadsheet and like cringe, like it really, I didn't love Excel. I was not friends with spreadsheets. Like I didn't like them. 5 years later, I have become very comfortable with using them and working in formulas and some pretty simple like analysis and stuff like that. So this is something that I have really trained myself to be comfortable with. But when I started, just having a very simple tracking sheet was very helpful. So what I've actually done, and this is inspired by, I guess, by you, when I shared that sheet that I've been working on over the past 5 years in this video, I got some very positive feedback. So what I've actually done is I've kind of cleaned that sheet up and I've offered it for sale in my Etsy shop so that I can maybe hopefully save someone out there 5 years of the trial and error experimentation that I did. So I will leave the link to my Etsy shop with that spreadsheet below. And this is what I use today. It's very, very simple. There's like one formula in that sheet, and that's it. I do most of that manually, and I know that there are other formulas that I can use, and I'm working on kind of like the next version of that spreadsheet, but this is the sheet that I use today, right now, and that's also the sheet that, again, I used in that video. So that's in my Etsy shop if you are interested in taking a look at that. Habit number 5 that kept me poor was thinking that I didn't have anything to offer and not monetizing my skills. Okay, so point number 4 actually proves point number 5. So I come from a history of under-earning and feeling like I really don't have anything of value to bring to the marketplace. So for me, it was a big challenge, and it is kind of a continual challenge to discover and hone and sharpen skills that I have that I think could be of use to someone, looking for things that I would be looking for myself. So for me, starting that Etsy shop and putting up the template that I use on a day-to-day basis today was a huge step in doing that and kind of saying like, hey, this might not be the fanciest or the most like sophisticated version of a template, but this is what I have and this is what has served me really well. So I'm offering this as the thing that works really well for me in the hopes that it might be of use and work well for you. I know that it's not going to be for everyone. That is totally fine. But if it helps just one person, then that's awesome. And I feel like I will have been making a positive impact in the marketplace. I am so encouraged by this growth, and I hope that this would inspire you to grow financially wherever you are. Habit number 7 that has kept me poor is a lack of planning. This would include everything from having to pay late fees for waiting until the last minute, to not planning for a recurring expense that you know is coming up, to maybe not setting accurate or achievable enough goals that would help you along in your financial journey. This also brings in the idea of honesty from habit number 1 and being really honest with myself about what actually works for me and my spending priorities. So for me, this means adjusting my spending and my budgeting to life as it actually is and not as I wish it were. So for me, this comes out especially in the areas of like grocery spending or travel. If I know that my grocery bill is going to be a little bit higher, I might choose to allocate more money there just to start with, just to be realistic. Because it's better to have a plan and to fix that plan as you go than to not have a plan at all. Habit number 7 that has kept me poor is waiting to save or invest. I'm going to say it again. Waiting to save or invest has kept me poor. So a couple of things on this one. Sometimes saving isn't the sexiest thing to do. Gotta admit it. Especially if you go back to that consumer treadmill. Spending sometimes can be a lot more exciting initially in the beginning. Spending can be more exciting than saving, but saving is essential. Likewise, investing is also essential. Saving and investing are so important that they should be numbers 1 and 2. The reason that I put them at the end is because they are the most important, but without the proper framework in place. That's the honesty, the goals, being realistic with yourself, not being on the consumer treadmill, and having organized finances. Without all of that framework in place, saving and investing will not have the support that they need to grow and flourish. So having the correct mindset in place has allowed me to prioritize the things that are the most important, and that is saving and investing. These are the two things that will lead to financial independence and financial freedom. And I've kind of learned this over the course of these 5 years that I've been on this financial independence journey. And I know that by releasing the habits that have kept me poor and accepting the habits that lead to wealth, I will move in the direction of financial independence and financial freedom. These have been 7 money habits that have kept me poor, and also kind of what I'm doing to help release them and replace them with habits that will lead to financial wealth and financial freedom. There are so many habits that have kept me poor. There may be a part 2 to this video. Please let me know if you can identify with any of these habits. Also, let me know if you have any habits of your own that have kept you poor. Even better, let me know if you have identified any habits that have led to a financial increase and have brought you wealth. Let me know any habits that you have that you know will bring you wealth or have brought you wealth or financial success or financial independence, financial increase, financial freedom. These are all great things, and I want to focus on those habits that bring things like financial independence, financial security, financial freedom, and release the habits that keep me poor. And that is my goal for you as well. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I hope you'll keep watching. Bye.